Welcome everybody to Invictus Racing League, brought to you by GT Omega, Nailcut Hall, and in association and partnership with gridfinder.com. My name is Webbo, and I'm here making my IRL debut, and this is season 13, and it's the very, very top division of Invictus Racing League. As I say, my name's Webbo, and joining me is my commentary partner and also good friend and experienced F1 racer. It's Lightning. Hey, Lightning.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
It's brilliant to be able to do this with you and be able to experience this very prestigious league. Lightning, we've been chatting before we came on air about the competitivity of the drivers. Apparently, in the warm-up event and evaluations, this group of drivers were separated by only a second around the evaluation track. So I think we're looking forward to some pretty competitive gaming tonight.
Absolutely, it was pretty impressive. I was speaking to Livingwall, and he has like time trial time 7/10 better than me, and he's ranked 13th in the speed difference. So.
Yeah.
I'm expecting brilliant things.
Fantastic. Well, Livingwall will be in the Aston Martin, one of the most popular livery schemes, and his teammate is Keza. And then I'll take you through some of the other drivers, and then Lightning will talk to me about who his favourites are based on previous stats. But Foxy Red and Liam are in the Mercedes. We have Stinson and Martin in the Ferrari. Then in the Red Bull, Rimac and Reshka. We have Max and Bills in the McLaren. We have Acosta and Nathan in the Alpine. Burmeister and Daniele in the Alfa Romeo. Ferocious Dan is the lone driver in the Haas tonight. His partner will be to be confirmed at a later date, I believe. Then we have Speed Queen and Aquinlan, I did it already, in the AlphaTauri, and finally Matty and Super Haman will be in the Williams tonight. So, Lightning, you've been digging into the stats for us with some help from some of our server members. Who are you picking out and why?
Well, Super Haman seems to be the fastest from the trial.
Yeah,
should he be called superhuman, I suppose. 1/10 faster than second place Aquillan, but it is incredibly close. So I'm looking forward to see the battle for pole. I was speaking to Livingwall, sorry, and he said his qualifying pace is better than his race pace, and he could have definitely gone faster in the trials. So hopefully he'll be up there as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, I mean, the only driver that I've actually had experience commentating over before is Matty, who he gets around a bit. As far as league racing is concerned, certainly our paths have crossed before, plenty. But it's like I say, I'm really looking forward to that, to seeing how these all shake out. But essentially, we do need to have the caveat that the F1 2021 game has been a hard reset, Lightning, in terms of driver form. But who have we got who've won championships and a significant amount of race wins previously in IRL?
I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't know.
You're obviously digging around in the different stats than I thought you were, and that's no problem.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What I do know is that there was a patch today, and it has increased rear downforce, apparently.
Is that right? Wow, okay.
The patch 1.8, I think, increased it a little bit, and this patch has done it even more. I couldn't feel much of a difference, but hopefully it'll help. In my opinion, the game was quite understeer already, so maybe it won't help.
Indeed. I see James Hook is here already supporting Martin, and there's quite a few people on the stream already. Welcome if you're joining us. We will obviously get going as close to the hour mark as possible. I think we're waiting on potentially one driver to show up from the from the 19 we're scheduled to start our season with. Um, so Foxy Red Lightning has taken part in 101 races and has got 25 podiums in that time. He drives with no
Wow.
assists. But the most experienced IRL driver in our league is Speed Queen. And Speed Queen has 133 starts and 55 podiums with 9 wins. And Speed Queen drives with no assists as well. So maximum respect for drivers out there with no assists from me. And those also include Rymac, Stinson, the whole of the Alpine team, Acosta and Nathan. And then everybody else is on a varying amount of assists. But I do like to see drivers without assists, as you well know.
Absolutely. ABS could give you 6/10, and to not use it and still compete for so many podiums and wins is very impressive.
Yeah.
And the consistency with no racing line as well to continue getting so many podiums, that's fantastic too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm certainly looking at those drivers in particular tonight. I think Ferocious Dan has perhaps the most wins with 11 in the league. He has started 90 races and scored 24 podiums in his IRL career. But of course, will be a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to the Constructors' Championship, having being the only driver. So, who was fastest? You said, remind us again for anyone joining a bit late on the stream. Who was the fastest in the evaluation?
Haman was
Hammond.
top of the Haman, sorry, was top by a tenth,
Yep.
so very, very close. And this was Bahrain, so we're at Brazil now. It could be a completely different story.
That's very true. Yeah.
I know that lots of drivers prefer Bahrain to Brazil and vice versa, so we could see some different higher up drivers.
Yes, absolutely, and also, of course, the weather will potentially have something to say in Brazil. It's obviously one of the races where we most often see rain and difficult conditions. It's obviously got a lot more undulation than Bahrain as well, and of course the curves are different at virtually every track. So I wonder if a change in downforce settings from the update will actually affect the drivers. One would have thought that actually we might end up with drivers having a surprisingly stable backside of the car rather than
Well,
it being something that potentially upsets them.
you would think that, but now that we've talked about it, we're probably going to see a few spins. That is what happens, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I was doing some practice around this track today, and some of the curbs are pretty lethal. Turn one specifically, I noticed that if you put your like 2 wheels on it too far in, you will probably spin, and
Yeah.
it could ruin your qualifying and race completely.
No, that's very true. There are some curbs you can attack pretty hard around Sao Paulo, but yeah, definitely turn one is one to be wary of. I think it's a lot to do with the undulation, a lot to do with people trail braking in there as well. I can see supporters of Stinson in the chat, and so we'll look to see how Stinson gets on. We've got the timer started, and we're about to get going. Lightning, this is pretty cool.
It certainly is. Top tier first round.
Absolutely. This is your 13th season with IRL, and yeah, it's only got more and more competitive with every season as that passes. So we're really looking forward to this one. We've got some agreement with you in the chat as well about that turn one, but I do enjoy this track. I think this track has got a very unique rhythm, and it's obviously not particularly taxing, but very satisfying when you get it right.
Absolutely. If you hook up the lap, it's a really good feeling, especially the center S. You can gain so much time if you push the limits. It's so easy to either spin or cut turn one and two respectively that when you hook it up perfectly, it's It's great.
Completely agree. Well, we're going to get going on our qualifying session. It looks like we've got some bright sunshine, some sharp shadows in the pit lane. Hopefully one of our drivers will let us know what the current best weather prediction is. We definitely want to know all about that, if at all possible. And we've got a few people sort of wishing each other good luck, which is great to see. And the same marshals that you see at every single race standing there in the pit lane. It's almost like they didn't do regionally appropriate marshals.
I've got some information. It is a dry race, 20% chance of rain, which means it probably won't happen.
Yeah. Well, tonight, I tell you what, we're going to have a bit of a target for us for our the likes on the video. So I'd love it if people, while we wait for the first hot lap in qualifying, if they could go ahead and like the video, because I'd like to get to 15 likes, and I'll stop asking when we get there. But that's my target tonight, Lightning. I want to make sure we get plenty of engagement with everybody, and of course make sure that you've subscribed to Invictus, because we've got racing 4 nights a week at the moment on YouTube. The next 3 nights after this one. But eyes down, we've got Rymac, who's the first car out there in the Red Bull, I believe. So we'll watch with him, and then maybe Lightning, you can take us through his first attempt at a lap.
Okay.
And hopefully it's relatively safe banker, and we can stay with him for the lap time. But they're just running through Bico di Pato at the moment, through Magulo, and then of course the famous Yunsao corner, which Lightning reliably tells me means junction in Portuguese.
Heading up the hill, personally I'd go a little bit wider so you get a better entry to turn 1. Brake just after the 50 meters. 3rd gear, try not to cut on the 2nd turn. Power down through the gears, keep to the inside, and he can't because there's a car coming out of the pits, so that's a bit annoying for him.
Yeah.
Brake 50 meters, 4th gear, up the inside, go onto the outside, stay on the inside again, if you can, and then after the 50, brake, change gear 2 times in through the S sections of sector 2, nice and flowing through here on the power. Brake at an unknown time for if you don't use the racing line, flat out through the left-hander, nice and clean. Brake just before the 50, up the hill, pretty clean lap, didn't invalidate, and then keep to the inside for the shortest run.
There we go then. So Rymac, of course, our first time lap at 106.8, which is pretty handy. A 107.0 for Martin. Out there, Foxy Red with a 108.7, so I expect a little bit better from Foxy Red. Ferocious Dan goes 3rd. Who else have we got out there on a lap? It looks like Livingwall about to cross the line. And A. Quinlan goes P1 with a 106.0. That's quite a bit quicker than we were expecting tonight, Lightning. Someone's been putting in their practice.
That is amazing, guys.
Fantastic for the first lap, and a safe banker and a 106.0. That's fantastic lap.
I think Foxy did that lap without any RS.
Interesting. There's a tactic for you.
Just getting a feel for the track, I suppose.
Just riding with Stinson. I think Stinson's done. I think he might have invalidated his first lap, unfortunately. So, no good from that one. Let's have a look at Acosta, who is heading for the line. It's probably won't thank the Mercedes next to him, but an invalidation for Acosta. Whether he decides to go again. It's a fairly short lap, Lightning. If you've taken it easy and bailed on your lap early on, you could potentially do a second.
Yes, definitely. The tyre wear isn't too bad around here as well. Also, I've noticed that IRL PS I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but they've already retired, so I think they're going to be starting last.
Ah, yes, we've lost Passy already, and that's unfortunate. I'm going to go ahead and assume REL is a team name or acronym, but Speed Queen goes P11 with a 110.795. So again, a banker lap in, but perhaps not quite what she was looking for this time.
I think
set on the soft tyres.
Consecutive lap.
Ah, excellent. Okay.
I don't think she used DRS, so she's using it now.
A charge lap. So there's a purple
flag.
first sector that she's got as well. So that's going to help with the confidence. Gets the car beautifully into La Jarina.
Very nice and flowing.
Absolutely, it strikes me just how many corners here are similar to Zandvoort. Now that I'm looking at them back on game again after doing a weekend full of Zandvoort. But short shifting through Mergulo. Perhaps not as much as in the previous game, but she's up and she's got a purple middle sector. So Speed Queen for the line.
Provisional P1.
Yeah, there's nothing to do here except point the car in the right direction, and Speed Queen P4, so lost a little bit of time on the third sector relative to A. Quinlan and Nathan, who we haven't mentioned yet, who's gone in P2. Very, very close, 106.1 for Nathan. So let's have a look at Daniele and see what Daniele is up to. Daniele is on a lap, I believe, and just throwing the car into Ferradura. Very satisfying Ferradura corner. Can always be tempted to take a little bit more speed in there, but Daniele has got a number at the end of his name that I know you're a fan of, Lightning. So is F1 still no assists? It's free choice, and we went through some of the assist levels at the start, but yeah, it is free choice at this stage in the game evolution and maturity of the game. So we'll see about, I think, later in the season whether we restrict that or not. But Daniele for the line, then a P8, good enough on medium tyres, so the highest of the medium tyre runners, and a sub 107 lap, Lightning. Pretty handy on medium tyres there as Max goes P3.
That is a very good lap for mediums. That is only 4/10 slower than my best lap softs, so I'm
awesome.
getting a bit embarrassed if I were up against these people.
Yep. I've been my excuse is I've been spending so long commentating that I haven't had time to set my time trials for everything. but yeah, I'm very much more a commentator than a driver. That's why we have people like you around to sit in the second seat. Ferocious Dan on a P6 suitable lap on a 106.617. It's tight at the top there, and I think was that Liam or Livingwall just putting in a slightly better time to go P4.
Livingwall just got P4 and then went into the wall.
Interesting. Okay, I think Rymax invalidated as well, unfortunately.
Didn't break anything though.
Yeah.
We have simulation damage on, so it is the if you get any damage, you're going to suffer quite a lot.
Absolutely. Tell me about Daniele on his ERS. Is he currently, has he had a charge lap and is going again?
He's on 20% at the moment, but he seems to be going
okay.
for another lap.
Yeah.
He's pushing.
He does, and he doesn't really want to start on 4-lap old mediums, one would imagine.
I wouldn't suggest it, but
no.
Maybe he's aiming for P11. Could be the case.
Yeah, it's quite possible. Stinson goes provisional pole, has dipped under the 106 mark, Lightning, in a 105.9. So definitely another one to watch a little bit later in this session. I'm riding with Reshka at the moment, just getting the car towards the end of the second sector. This is Mergulo, the penultimate corner, and then Yunsao. Perhaps could have ridden that entry apex curve a little bit stronger, perhaps, but concentrating on the exit and up the hill. So Reshka for the line. Reshka P10, again a 106 lap. We've got our top 14 drivers within a second of each other on the first banker laps. This is so competitive. What a tremendously competitive league.
That is fantastic. From just P7 down to P11, like a tenth and a half.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, looks like Acosta has invalidated this lap. I think it's going to go again, but I just want to see what kind of time he puts up. But I might have to come back to him shortly, because I think we've got a Quinlan. Is a Quinlan? No, he's invalidated. Unfortunately, a Quinlan, car number 95 again. What about Nathan? Nathan's heading to the pits. We'll look for Liam, perhaps. Liam has invalidated. Everyone's really pushing very hard on this second stint at the moment. Obviously taking the best out of their tyres.
Not sure anyone. Oh, I think Keza is on a lap at the moment.
Excellent. I'll just stay with Speed Queen. You stay with Keza, and we'll see how their sectors are
Keza's
comparing.
Gone purple. Keza's gone purple, and I think Speed Queen is on an out lap.
Great. Okay. Let's go.
So Keza purple sector 1.
We'll ride with Keza then.
He seems to be pushing the car quite a lot. It looks very fast at the moment. That is one of the hardest corners on the track, in my opinion.
Pico di Pato.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, 3/10. 3/10 of an improvement so far, Lightning. This one then, for the line, a 3/10 improvement will be a significant number of places up the grid. Keza then. How do we get on? Wow, straight up to P4. What a final sector. To get an extra 10th out of that final sector is no mean feat. And Keza in the Aston Martin up to P4.
That's brilliant, to be honest.
Beautiful work.
5 minutes left in the session. We're going to see a
new pole lap. A new pole lap at A. Quinlan has gone pole in a 105.937 as opposed to Stinson's 105.957.
That is so close.
That's brilliant stuff.
I haven't seen many leagues with this much competition.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll try and ride with Stinson perhaps when he starts his next lap. What's the B Queen up to at the moment? Nearly 2/10 improvement as she exits Yunsao, and just that long drag up the hill. Time to look at the blimp in the sky, and Speed Queen, small improvement, just 2/10 gets her up to P8. So let's ride with Stinson and try and catch a competitive pole lap potentially. Let's have a look. And of course he's invalidated, unfortunately. I did all that building up and he's invalidated, sadly. So we'll have a look with Daniele. Daniele has not so far.
ERS, so I think this is a second lap, the same tyres.
Yeah.
And they
see if he's pushing.
Oh,
okay. Excellent. Well, we won't waste time.
I think Nathan is finishing his lap, or just starting it, sorry.
Okay, I'm just looking at Liam, who has also managed to invalidate. So let's watch Nathan then as he navigates. He looks like a controller driver potentially. I can see small inputs on the steering, unless there's an invalidation, and 0 assist on a controller. Wow. Oh, and just that tiny little wiggle on the way out of the Ciudad Lago, and another invalidation. So I really think our drivers are nearing the absolute peak times that they're going to achieve. And we've got Ferocious Dan heading up the hill. Is he on a hot lap at the moment? No. So he's on his way into the pits just the same. Surely Stinson. Has Stinson managed to get himself on a lap yet? He is, and he's slightly up. Not Lightning. He's up by enough to claim pole. So he's rounding Pinarino through into this one's Pico di Pato. A little wide there, as you say. Now, I'm always in the habit of short shifting through the penultimate corner, but these drivers don't seem to be. They seem to have got the cars really nicely hooked up there.
You need to short shift outside, coming off the exit of Vico de
No,
Pato.
he's not happy. He's not happy, Lightning. Sorry.
That's a shame. Maybe it's because he had 20% ERS, and when you get to that level,
Yeah.
the engine really reduces power. So when it gets to 20%, you're pretty much done, to be honest. Which is a bit of a shame.
It looks like Nathan's on a lap at the moment. We'll follow him, and you carry on with your point. We'll just again, Nathan looking like making small corrections frequently.
This is his second attempt at the same set, I believe.
Yes, indeed. And he's up on his time, 800ths. Again, the margins are so tight that this could see him up into P3. Very aggressive on the inner curb. You've got to be so careful not to touch that white line with your outside tyres. And straight up to the front row for Nathan. Again,
So
huge
close.
amount of time he gained in that final sector. And normally, there's barely anything you can do there.
5 thousandths of a second.
Yeah. I
That's
see
impressive.
Max in the McLaren. He's slightly up. Well, 162 is his margin up at the moment. So navigates Yunsao. Not quite so aggressive on that curb on the way up Subida dos Bogs. And for the line then, Max, another improvement, P5. Are we seeing some track evolution, do you think, right now?
There definitely is track evolution. And I also think it's that combined with going all out, nothing to lose anymore. They've set their banker laps,
Yeah.
and hell for leather, trying to get the first pole of the season.
No, absolutely. I can see Bills probably didn't maximise his lap, because we're talking about how competitive this league is, and he's a second off the pace at the moment, off the nearest car. Well, we'll ride with Liam, who's the first to start, I think, his final flying lap, and we'll ride with him until he finishes or invalidates. It's going to throw the car into Decido del Lago. Keeps it tight.
Sorry.
That was good. No, obviously thinking alike. And then it looks like Nathan's decided he wasn't going to get round for another lap in time, or he pushed too hard and hit the wall, ran out of fuel. There you go. Liam then just finishing off sector 2.
Oh, he's down this time.
He is down.
Ever so slightly.
I'm not sure that this is going to be good enough, but we'll ride up the hill with him, and before we join A. Quinlan, or possibly Stinson, whoever's in front. I can see a Haas behind us, a Ferocious Dan about to cross the line. Very, very close there from Liam.
Very close.
Where's Stinson right now? Because he's pushing, but I think A. Quinlan is slightly further along the lap, so we'll stay with A. Quinlan, Lightning. Feel free to watch somebody else if you think they're a threat for pole, but I'll sit with A. Quinlan, who's approaching Vico de Pato. Tricky braking here because you're slightly turning the car when you're doing your hardest braking. Small correction on the way out, and where is he relative to everybody else? Oh, he's way down, so we'll go back to Stinson and see what Stinson's doing. He's just
7 milliseconds down. Oh my goodness.
This is so close. He could make it up, but we know how strong A. Quinlan was up this hill.
He needs to gain 27 milliseconds if he's running low downforce. He did
There it was! Wow! What a claim for pole at the death of qualifying. I don't know if anybody else is going to take him. Stinson in the Ferrari, right at the death, dips under 105.9, the only driver down that way. I do see that Bills came in and got a much better qualifying time, up to P6, so P6 and 7 for the McLarens, and that means, Lightning, that we have our entire field who managed to do a lap in what? Within 0.8 of a second round Brazil.
That is amazing.
Look at that! Just look at the gaps in this league. I'm so pumped to be part of this. I don't think we've seen anything like it previously. but this is IRL's Season 13 division. This is F1 division of IRL, and there we have, brought to you by GT Omega, by Nelcut Hall, and in partnership with gridfinder.com. Stinson taking pole on a 105.891, just pipping A. Quinlan, then Nathan, Daniele, Livingwall, Bills, Max, Liam, Keza, Ferocious Dan in the only Haas in 10th, and then starting on free choice of tyres, we've got Speed Queen, Rymac, Acosta, Martin, Reska, Matty, Foxy Red, and Passe. Of course, didn't manage to make a time count in that qualifying session. Speed Queen, I really do think in a very strong position tonight, Lightning, to start potentially on mediums or hards.
Hards, there's no point in my opinion.
No.
I think medium soft, soft medium is the way to go. The tyre wear isn't that high.
Yeah.
Some drivers who finished their lap when the timer was out and the AI did their in lap, they might have to pit a bit earlier. So we could see some undercuts going on.
Yeah.
But Speed Queen, 11th place. The some people prefer it to pole.
Yes.
We could see some very good late race action from her.
Absolutely. You'll understand it on the stream if I stick with the battle at the front of the grid, but I'm sure Lightning will have a look at what's going on a bit further down as we start our race. Yeah, this is really shaping up to be one of the most competitive trips around Brazil I think I will have ever commentated over. Let's hope for a clean race. I know we've all seen plenty of safety car action over the last few months, both in real life and in league racing. But yeah, hopefully with that rumoured additional rear downforce having been applied during this update, maybe the drivers will be attacking this race, Lightning, with a little bit more confidence after that qualifying session.
Hopefully they've gotten accustomed to the track conditions, because it is quite different to any other lobby you make. There's going to be slight differences, but now that qualifying has been done and dusted, there should be an extra ounce of confidence to push the limits a bit more. Absolutely.
I think we're just waiting to make sure everybody has got their strategies together and sorted. Bear with us. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you select for notifications so you don't miss a race in our new season 13. And like I say, I'm aiming for 15 likes on tonight's video. So let's see what we can do as a team. Some predictions coming in. I think Stinson's getting a lot of support out there as well. But yeah, I've got a good feeling about Speed Queen tonight, and I was very impressed by the second McLaren of Bill's getting in his lap when it counted, because it was do or die at that moment.
Absolutely, always nice to get that lap hooked up. P6 is a pretty good starting grid slot. Hopefully he can take advantage of any incidents up ahead and keep his nose clean.
Absolutely. Well, the driver's just leaving the grid then for their formation lap. We see Passe. Now, I was saying that there was only one Haas, but Passe, I think is reserve driving, so has picked up the other white car.
We've got Haas has appeared.
A wild Haas has appeared, yes.
Lovely stuff. Except for the fact that the livery is awful. But, and they're starting on the hards, which I said no one would do. So
well, there you go.
A lot, Passe. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, not helping Lightning's cred there at all. But we'll reserve judgment, Lightning, because it could prove to be a mistake. It could be a stroke of genius, who knows? But yeah, certainly we don't see a lot of hard tyres around this track. That's for sure.
And I'm also surprised that not everyone outside the top 10 has chosen mediums. We've got Foxy on the softs.
Yep.
Reshka on the softs, and both Red Bulls on the softs.
That
So
is
that's quite
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, they've gone for the same strategy between teammates. Either they're not communicating particularly well, um, and have elected to do the same thing and potentially end up pitting or needing to pit at a similar time in the race, or they're just completely convinced that it's the right way to go. And
It's going to be a master stroke.
yeah.
Definitely.
The boss is here on the chat, and he says that Foxy Red may go for a Perez late dive up the inside of turn 1. So have a look for that one if you're watching from the back for us. And yeah, the driver's just assembling on the formation grid, and this is IRL's F1 League, brought to you by GT Omega and Elcott Hall, and in partnership with gridfinder.com. We're looking forward to getting started on this one. The cars all in all different positions in terms of gradient that they need to tackle. I don't think Codemasters have managed to code the holding the brakes, but we're lights out and away we go in Brazil for round 1 of the championship. The Ferrari away really beautifully of Stinson. Couldn't ask for a better start, but actually further down, Nathan is getting up the inside of Quinlan there. So Quinlan losing a place at the start as the drivers start to jostle for position and head down to Desida do Lago. Looks like formation start for the majority of the grid as we look for good, clean exits through. A little bit of disagreement happening there between Livingwall and Daniele Musso. But drivers just being sensible enough to stay on the black stuff. I see Rimac dropping back, or is it just Foxy Red moving forward, Lightning? What did you see from the back?
What I saw from the back is Keza, I think, had a bit of a spin and went from mid-pack to last. Passe on the hards has somehow made up 2 places, and then went up the inside of the fast flat-out left-hander, but I couldn't make it stick.
Fantastic stuff.
That's pretty impressive considering the tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Daniele pretty close behind Quinlan here.
Oh, we've got the pitter of Rimac.
Okay, I wonder if that's damage related, is it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely not plan A for Rimac at this point, but it could work out. We've got 36 laps in this race. We haven't had 3 laps. That's just a tower coding issue. Not not at all accurate, but a little bit further down, Stinson has got half a second on the lead of the race, but down here in the battle for 6th, it's pretty close. Bills is in 6th behind Livingwall. Then we've got Liam, Ferocious Dan and Max. It looks like Bill's holding on to his place at the start, and potentially I think Max, his teammate, dropping down a couple of places. Lightning?
It would seem the case. Maybe Bills has the better race pace out of the 2 McLarens.
Foxy, as predicted by the boss, Foxy making up loads of spaces, and yeah, we just saw Williams wide through Yunsao, and I think that affected Liam as well, who's dropped down.
Yep, he went wide onto the grass and lost, I think, 4 positions.
Daniele gets up onto the provisional podium position, so Daniele up to P3, having got past A. Quinlan, and A. Quinlan dropping 2 from the start of this race. So not the best start from him. Nathan is trying to keep Stinson honest at the front, but
it's a battle for 10th at the moment.
Oh, let's go down there and have a look then.
Around the outside of Speed Queen, but Speed Queen keeping the nose in, squeezing Liam off. Around the outside, on the medium tyre.
It's brave on the outside.
That is impressive.
Brilliant
Worst
stuff.
tyre around the outside.
Yeah, and great defensive driving and cooperative positioning from Speed Queen's rival Liam there. I get the feeling these drivers have a lot of mutual respect up and down the grid. No one taking any crazy moves. Foxy relatively happy, I'm sure, at this point to be 8 places up from his starting position.
That is pretty impressive.
Absolutely. I think Daniele and Aquillan are pretty close to each other, as we see Aquillan actually dropping back slightly, having lost some ground. I wonder what's happened with Aquillan.
I'm looking to see if he has any damage. With simulation damage, you can get a slight tap and have lots of understeer, but you can't see it on the broadcast.
Yeah.
So that could be an issue. Does look like he's suffering from a bit of understeer, but
looks like Nathan's taken the lead through Ferradura, and a move that started in Desida del Lago and was finished in Ferradura. So Nathan in the Alpine gets by Stinson at this early stage of the race. I thought that Stinson was out and away on his own, but no joy just yet. Yeah.
Quite a surprise from Nathan. Brilliant job. No assists, and pulling away. That's pretty fantastic. And he's got more ERS than Stinson. So Stinson is draining at the moment, so he's going to try and go up the inside.
Oh, this looks good. This looks like he timed that perfectly. He's got DRS. He's obviously been, as Lightning said, pressing the ERS button very hard indeed, I imagine, and he gets away. But he'll need to be on the defensive again as they head down this short straight, and we've got a fairly good overtaking opportunity into turn 4 Desida del Lago, but not close enough this time. And these two, I think, are going to battle pretty consistently. It's difficult to stretch a gap from the car behind Lightning because it's such a short lap.
Especially when you have half the ERS numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, yellow flag. Bills has gone for a spin, I think. That is a true shame.
It is. After rescuing his qualifying from the ashes, he's all the way down there. Let's see if we can't see whereabouts he is. He looks like he's recovered from the perspective of Keza. And this field is still very tight, with the exception of the one pitting driver that we've had. We've got a total gap from 1st to 17th of 11.9 seconds. Again, super impressive from the drivers. It's lap 5, and Stinson has the lead again from Nathan. Then Daniele, 1.7 seconds back from them. We've got Max and Quinlan are battling through the first few corners.
Foxy's going to benefit a lot from this, I think.
He's got a great...
Max has no ERS, so I think Quinlan is going to be on the back of him.
Foxy decided to wait actually through there. He decided not to gamble on a dive bomb move, and maybe that's discretion the better part of valor for Foxy at this stage. He's already gained so many places. We don't want to get too greedy.
Absolutely not. It's probably best to keep your move until the last straight, so that you can save your ERS and never mind. He's side by side with the Quinlan.
He's not listening to you. Round the outside, great move from Foxy. Obviously leaning on his tyres heavily, but making it work. He's a little bit. No, he's got a great launch out of Yun Sao, and now it's Ferocious Dan's turn.
He has no DRS.
He takes to the inside, and a Quinlan round the outside. A little bit of rubbing going on between friends. The Mercedes staying ahead, but take a look at Ferocious Dan, who's going to make it 3 wide down the back straight. Ferocious Dan has got the inside. Yep, off goes the AlphaTauri. Just saved it. And a Quinlan tumbling down the order, but be thankful that being the outside of 3 cars actually kept the car pointing in the right direction in the end.
Yeah, that was dangerous. And I'm very surprised that Dan went for that, considering the amount of ERS he had. He had good straight line speed.
So at what point, Lightning, will those soft tyres start to go off? Is it a little bit... Well, I say that, and the Haas is just wiggling out, yeah.
A lot of oversteer, but that happens with every tyre, basically. That corner is very difficult. I reckon around lap 12, they're going to start feeling worse for wear. You can make them go to lap 14, 15 for the mediums, but they're certainly going to start struggling now relative to Speed Queen. Speed Queen's going to have the advantage over everybody at the moment. Absolutely, she stayed at the head of the medium runners, and just while you were saying that, Max, with a DRS assisted pass, got by Livingwall round the outside, and I can see Nathan trying to look aggressive in the mirrors of Stinson. Nathan just making a nuisance of himself. I don't know how much attention Stinson's going to pay to that, probably very little, until he knows that he's within range. But Stinson so far looking pretty unflappable. He's been doing surprisingly well, considering the less ERS he has. Quinlan has the first penalty of the day.
He does, yeah. So the first penalty award goes to A Quinlan. Unfortunately for him.
I think that Nathan's going to go for a move at the moment. He's got 80% ERS relative to 30, and that's a yellow flag. And we have built.
It's a sector 2 yellow flag, so it won't stop Nathan, who makes the attempt at the inside. Stinson gave him the inside there, Lightning. Was that just taking it easy and not trying to lose too much race time?
Going to get the DRS, going to hopefully save some ERS, which he is doing at the moment.
It doesn't look close enough to me to make an attempt, but he's going to stay there. Going to stay close.
If he stays on 20% ERS, he's going to have a hard time recovering.
Yes.
And it'll be very damaging to the rest of his race, because it's only lap 9. Plenty of laps to go.
Very true. Foxy got another place. Foxy's up to P7 on the soft tyres, and Speed Queen in P8 is
so
the highest of those.
From
Go ahead.
P6 all the way down to P16.
So here's your battle for 8th place. Speed Queen keeping herself ahead of all the other medium runners, which is exactly where she wants to be. Doesn't want to be too aggressive, doesn't want to take out the best of these tyres, and if she can live with the slowest soft driver, then she'll be doing well, and will start to get an advantage pretty soon as their tyres start to drop off. Lightning.
Foxy's going to be going for a move into turn 4, I reckon. He's got a lot more ERS, and Liam just got a penalty, so that might mess with his rhythm a little bit.
Yeah, it's very distracting, isn't it, when you get that? It can be a little bit disheartening, and this is a track that you have to stay focused so much. Perhaps you can afford to move your brake bias going up the hill to the start-finish line, but that's about the only time you can take it easy and have a look at the gaps and your current performance. Stinson's still in second place at the moment.
It's the only time you can concentrate and think about your race strategy.
Yeah.
Or what you might want to do.
Now, well, I just saw the Alpine of Acosta just struggling around, which surprises me because he's on those medium tyres. He seems to be struggling on lap 9. Hopefully it's just a one-off.
He has got 100% ERS at the moment, so he's going to be using it up the straight.
He's going to need to use it after that moment for sure.
His biggest rival at the moment is Speed Queen. And we have Liam in the pits.
So, the first car to blink is Liam. Here goes Speed Queen. This is that moment. Lap 10 is the moment when the medium tyres apparently are the favourable one to be on. The soft starting to give up on our drivers. Stinson's got by Nathan again for the lead while we watch these drivers swapping places. And I'll head back up there very soon because it's all about careful management of the tyres at this stage. How much race time do you want to give away defending and fighting? And I think Stinson and Nathan have had a really good approach to this. They're not battling too hard. They know there's plenty of the race to run. We're not at 1/3 distance just yet. And all they're going to do is make a 2-horse battle into a 3 or 4-horse battle by spending too long taking each other's lines and braking marks and everything. Let's see, what does Stinson do? Is it time to pit for Stinson? It's not. Our leading 2 stay out. Our leading 3 stay out. So that first pit stop very early on.
He must have been really struggling with his tyres. He's going to have a very hard time at the end of this race, is Liam, with those mediums, in my opinion. He's going to be quite slow. But right now, he's going to get a fantastic undercut and hopefully build a gap to that battle.
Absolutely. It looks like Ferocious Dan and Speed Queen might have had a moment.
It's too wide. Double too wide.
Yeah. We've got a Noah's Ark situation going through Desideraga. It looks like Speed Queen has been hit from behind. I think that was the Alpine, potentially, of Acosta, or was it Martin's Ferrari that hit Speed Queen in the back? She's very slow around these first few corners, just learning how the car handling has changed. I wonder if that is going to trigger a Plan B pit stop, but that's not going to be a happy driver in the cockpit there.
No, that was, I don't know what the stewards will think of that. It was think it was a silly place to put your nose for Acosta. I think it was
Potentially.
Acosta.
I mean, yeah, we don't know which drivers were involved, and we don't know who was necessary to blame. I happened to be riding on board with Speed Queen, so I didn't see who the aggressor was.
Acosta.
It was
Acosta, and he's also in the pits for a new wing.
Ah. Well, there's all the evidence you need then. Okay. But it looks like Nathan just dropping back for a few moments, but Daniele is determined to make this into a three-way battle for the lead. We have Stinson on lap 13 ahead of Nathan by 4/10, ahead of Daniele 4/10, and Max a further 1.4 behind these three. But it's now a three-way battle at the lead of the race.
Stinson with a 3-second penalty. That's not going to help.
No, indeed, he must have caught that track extending, so he's going to hope that happens to everybody else, but it's not a great position to be in.
He's in the pits.
Excellent.
And he also had 60% less ERS than Nathan.
Okay, but he will get the benefit of the undercut to the first lap on the better tyres. Might well help him out here. Daniele then. We've got lots of pit stops happening. Looks like Reshka's in behind Stinson.
Liam has left the session, so I'm going to invite him.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, one of the roles Lightning can perform for us. Liam_J_P is the driver you're looking for. But lap 14 then. Your grid order brought to you by GT Omega and Nelcut Hall, and in partnership with gridfinder.com. On lap 14 it's Nathan from Daniele and Max, then Livingwall, Foxy Red, a Quinlan, all soft runners. Then in P7 Martin in mediums, Ferocious Dan on softs, Passe from the back on hard tyres in 9th place, and 10th place is Keza in the second Aston Martin. It looks like we've just seen Nathan drop into the pits and Daniele is released, and Daniele can now potentially have a push lap, and we'll see where Nathan come out relative to Stinson. It looks like potentially Stinson might be in a little bit of traffic at this stage, which won't have worked out well for him. It's one of the things that our drivers just can't take advantage of as well as everybody else in real life racing, because they don't have a team manager telling them where the gap is and when there's a good time to pit, so they kind of have to take it on chance as to where they're going to come out. I don't think Jeff is quite good enough, or it's quite easy enough to interact with Jeff. But Stinson is driving pretty well. He's just got by Keza up to P7, so we'll be using a little bit of DRS. That's also going to help his attempt at the undercut. And we'll stay with Stinson for a moment. Keep an eye on the top of that tower for when Daniele and Max decide to pit. And Nathan has come out with a car in between Stinson and himself. So Nathan still has to get by Keza.
Nathan has lost 3 seconds.
That's quite the undercut. Absolutely. And Stinson's going to get DRS again, this time from the back of Matty. And he'll be grateful for that up the hill as he looks to stretch his potential lead from Daniele, who does pit this time. Where's Daniele going to come out of those pits? He's got Max behind him, who pitted on the same lap. Looks like Nathan's got by just.
Side. Is it going to be side by side? No.
Oh, and I think Daniele just went over the white line on exit with at least a tyre. I should be.
Some leagues have different rules where that's concerned. So.
Well, in my book, it's illegal. So maybe someone will watching is a bit.
Is round.
He is. What happened to Stinson?
The difference of grip on the mediums. Maybe he misjudged how fast he could go through the corner.
Disaster then. From the lead of the race, Stinson spins round and loses several places and more seconds to Nathan and Daniele. Daniele's caught back up to the back of Nathan, so hasn't lost much time at all, as Nathan and Daniele look to get by these drivers who are on older tyres than them. Passe, start at the back, up to second before the pit stops. There goes Nathan, past Matty, who's
Nice
in the
move,
Williams.
very good.
Yeah, smooth. DRS, well-timed pass, and here comes Daniele.
Those mediums are not doing very well at the moment.
No.
He's all over the place. He's got 0% ERS.
But he's going to keep fighting.
Around the outside.
Wow, Daniele making a brave sweep across the front of a driver, putting a lot of faith in Matty not to make a mistake on the way into the apex, but gets by. Decisive driving there, Lightning.
Very aggressive move, considering how much is at stake.
No, absolutely.
Liam has rejoined, thankfully for him.
Yeah, and it looks like he had to restart his game or his system, so he's
frustrating.
It is. I'm not sure what level the AI is on, but usually the AI not good enough to compete with the general pace of our drivers in the league. Martin holds out though on those medium tyres. Is he going to try and make them work to just go onto softs at the end? So he's going to have to stretch them a little bit further as Matty on lap 16 of his tyres decides to pit. So will he get softs to the end, Lightning?
No.
No, I didn't. I was hoping you'd have a different answer to the one that I was thinking of, but no, potentially a two-stopper then for Matty.
On the hards.
Ah, there you go.
That is the worst strategy possible around here.
Okay, you heard it here, folks.
Right behind.
A one-stopping on a hard is worse than a two-stopping and using two sets of mediums potentially. Passe looking to be the next one to be passed by Nathan and Daniele. His pace just not up there on these hard tyres, but his battle is not really with these front runners, and they need to get by him as quickly as possible. Looks like Nathan's going to do it.
For Livingwall versus Max pretty soon, probably into turn 4, I reckon.
Okay, well, Nathan gets by comfortably, gets by Passe, and Daniele has lost a little bit of ground going through the traffic. He was only 3/10 behind. We got Reshka, has Stinson's lost it again. Lightning. Stinson around on the way out of Yunsao, I think. He can't get the car recovered. These tyres are so difficult to run back and get down to operating temperature after you've gone off. Stinson, it's all going wrong, as in front of him. Was that Rimac or Matty?
That was Keza.
Okay, Keza and out.
Straight into the wall.
Has hit the wall.
That could be a safety car.
It could even be a disco if they've suddenly lost the ability to steer, but it could have been Stinson's recovery on track. So we'll be lucky if we avoid a safety car here tonight, folks, on lap 19. It'll depend.
It will be.
I can't see how it isn't. It usually is, yeah.
Pretty instant usually, so the game doesn't really have much of a brain. So sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Yeah, we're looking for consistency out of a Codemasters F1 game. I think we've got our priorities wrong. But Daniele makes a move stick. So obviously the marshals managed to get Keza's car out and away, and without too much debris anywhere near the racing line. Keza then out of the race, our first loss on lap 20, and that just goes to show the quality of these drivers tonight and their ability to be patient and make decisive but low risk moves. Oh yeah,
Aquilin has gone around. Aquilin, apologies.
No problem, it's Aquilin Arcosta, and he just steers across on the pit exit area towards Matty, who has a moment where he's not sure whether he's ghosting or not. But Aquilin,
and he nearly lost it again.
Yeah, it's just so easily done, and you certainly can't criticise the drivers for that. It's very difficult.
He needs to slow down to cool down his tyres.
Yeah, put no stress through those tyres at all. So it's lap 20.
Reshka.
Just watching Nathan, who's super close to Martin at the lead. Martin holding out, but it's a lost cause now, I fear. It's lap 20 on his tyres, lap 21 of the race. And Foxy, as Lightning correctly calls, gets by, but this time Nathan, DRS, down into Desida del Lago, makes the job complete, and already you can see him stretching that gap. Daniele having that difficulty where Nathan gets the first choice of the traffic. Nathan, a little wiggle there as he heads into Bico de Pato. It's not all his own weight, but Passe still in P4, Lightning, from the back, and hasn't pitted yet.
That has impressed me how much he's managed to stick with the top two main protagonists. It's like impressive considering he's on 20 lap old hards. He should be pitting now for a set of the softs, or maybe next lap.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, he might run them a little bit longer. We've got another yellow flag. It looks like Bills this time. I'll ride with Rymac and see if we can see where Bills is off or whether he's recovered.
He's recovered.
I can just see him up ahead from the perspective of the car there. Speed Queen has gone on to hards. We'll hope to run these hard tyres to the end, but it's going to be a difficult challenge to stay at racing speed all the way through this section. And of course, if we do get a caution period, that's bad news. But Rymac is in the pits again. Is that damaged, Lightning?
I'm going to
try and find out. First pit stop. No, it's his second pit stop, and he goes on to softs with 14 laps left to run of the race.
He did have to pit on lap 1 for mediums. That's why. Yeah. He desperately needs a safety car sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
Any time it would help.
Definitely. Let's go and have a look at the Mercedes, who are running P8 and 9 at the moment. Foxy challenging Reshka up ahead in the Red Bull. Foxy's having a good race, and it looks like Martin has finally decided to pit 22 laps on the medium tyres. That was pretty heroic out there.
That's a very good job.
Foxy getting by Reshka, and of course Martin in the pits. Martin dropping down in 10th, 11th. Will there be any more? Probably not after that moment for Bills. Reshka's not happy to give up the place, gets DRS back and gets straight back ahead of Foxy. So they're on the same strategy, so these guys battling for genuine position and keeping it fair and clean so far.
They could be working together to try and get within the penalty window of Livingwall, but it is the first race, so might as well.
I imagine we'll see more inter-team cooperation. It's very advanced to try and arrange without radio or party connection with another team driver to cooperate with you to pull you both forward in the order. It looks like Passe has pitted from 22 lap old hard, so it should be a medium run to the end for Passe.
Yeah, I think he'll come out in 12th, around there. Looking at Daniele, he's 2/10 behind Nathan.
Oh great, let's go up there.
They have the same ERS, so this is going to be an all-out fight to the end. I think Daniele has better pace on these tyres at the moment.
Yeah.
Because he went through the traffic and managed to cut the gap to Nathan pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean potentially he might have rested his tyres a little bit more, preserved some tyre wear going through there, because it did look like Nathan was in a bit of a rush. But yeah, 1 lap fresh. Yeah. So down to half a second on the way out of Youngsal, but of course now starts the drag up the hill, and it's closing very, very quickly. He's got a good top speed difference, gets by before the braking zone, can resume his normal racing line, and that's going to help him through the centre S's to get enough of a gap on the Alpine to stay ahead through into turn 4.
He does have less CRS, but Nathan isn't using any. He's just lifted off.
Yeah.
So he wants to keep the move for the start finish.
But I'd be pleased to see that red flashing light on the back of the Alfa Romeo. That will give him motivation to stay with him. look at the tyre markings starting to form on the way into S8. The tricky trail braking first hairpin. It's a difficult track, and one misstep on the curbs or the apexes can see you grab a penalty, or far worse, end up with a little spin. But Daniele with better pace and has got a 7/10 gap now from a 4/10 deficit on the previous circuit. It's lap 25. We've got 11. Make that 10 complete laps to run, and your order on lap 26, brought to you by GT Omega, Nailcut Hall, and in partnership with gridfinder.com, is Daniele in the lead in P1, followed by Nathan in P2 in the Alpine. Then Max is in third place, Livingwall in fourth. We'll get a nice look at the tyre wear, and indeed Daniele's tyres looking a lot fresher than Nathan's at this stage. Daniele's limit is 31 on the front right, and Nathan was 38 on the front left. So they've actually put different amounts of wear through their outside corners. Livingwall in fourth, Reshka in fifth, Foxy Red in sixth, and Ferocious Dan in seventh in the Haas, followed by Acosta, Martin, and Passe, who's come out on soft tyres, Lightning, with trying to do 12 laps. That's potentially doable. That's a hard to soft strategy, and the reverse is true of Speed Queen, who's up to P12 now, looking to make a soft hard strategy, sorry, a medium hard strategy, because of that situation she had in the first stint of the race. Daniele then in the lead. Any standout drives so far that you're seeing?
Foxy has done really well from last to P6. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to mention, Nathan got a penalty there, so just made Daniele's life a little bit easier. Maybe further into the race you can have a look at who's on what warnings, but at the moment Daniele has got a net 3.6 second lead over Nathan, and Max will be pleased to see that and hope to try and catch the two of them as well.
I think that at the moment Nathan is trying to save some fuel. I hear him lifting like 5 meters before the braking zone.
Do you think he's a driver who's assuming that we're going to get a safety car and is underfueled?
He's got positive 0.2 of a lap at the moment.
Yeah. Good to hear from Keza, by the way, who lost the back end in the Senna S, lost control of the car, and is frustrated, but I think already looking forward to the next race. So, proper racing driver.
Good mentality.
Definitely. File it in the past and move on. That's definitely the right way to go about things.
Liam and Matty side by side through the fast left-hander into Jinsao at the moment.
Let's have a look.
Going up the hill. Liam with the much better tyres at the moment.
Oh, he's being squeezed slightly by Matty, who moves him to the inside, goes on the dirty part of the track, and that actually makes life a little bit easier for the Mercedes. The Mercedes having to be very, very cautious and aware of what Matty was doing, but it ended up with Liam having a fairly straightforward run. And now Speed Queen is behind her teammate, and I wonder if there'll be some team cooperation going on. Quinlan could really do with letting Speed Queen through here, because he's got 6 seconds of penalties and Speed Queen's just being held up. We had a brief yellow flag, Lightning, but I didn't see who it was for.
It was Rymac who had a spin at turn 1 in last.
Looks like Rymac's got back running, though no major issue. I know he's already had some he's already pitted once for damage, I believe, so just struggling around this track. And I think up at the front things are looking pretty close again. Martin is behind Acosta and Ferocious Dan on your screen right now, and Daniele has a half-second lead, but remember the penalty difference there that might well take effect later on if Daniele and Max can avoid further penalties. I'm sure that will be their aim. Lap 29 of 36. We've got just 7 complete laps to run. Bills has gone from the session.
That's a shame. He's DNF'd.
Yeah, full on DNF, yellow flag. I wonder if we will actually get our first safety car.
There's a chance. He has completely binned his car outside the Center S.
Nathan for the lead now. DRS assisted pass to the inside of Curva 1. But we've seen Daniele quite patient and careful before. There was the wrong facing McLaren we saw just on the exit of Curva del Sol. Daniele not able to get close enough to Nathan, but he's within 0.3 here, and just taking it easy, nothing too dramatic, and he knows he's got past Nathan several times already tonight, so can afford to be patient, but needs to get it done fairly soon, although because it's not, we don't see many drivers who are happy to take the win on penalty countback. They want to take it on the road, Lightning.
I'm kind of hoping that Daniele gets a penalty so that it's more nerve-wracking at the end.
That's evil. That's evil.
Very equally paced.
How's he looking on warnings at the moment? Is he close?
I yet to find out. I will
Let's have a
check.
look. Livingwall is in 4th and coming up behind Max now. Looks like got an opportunity up the start-finish straight. Closer to Max than Daniele is to Nathan. Launches a late one down into Curva 1, but had to slam on the brakes and get his apex speed right down. He's almost pushing the McLaren through Curva del Sol. And why is it on this Retro Aposta straight I always get the wrong camera angle from the game? Well, Livingwall manages to take the apex from around the outside. He's got good grip on these tyres at the moment, and Livingwall up onto the podium, but he has got a penalty, so he's going to need to build a gap pretty soon and hope that he can escape. He can get away from Max, who's got the DRS to fight back with.
An 8/10 gap per lap. Or 7.
Yeah, absolutely.
He has got more ERS at the moment by 25%, so that'll help. But the amount of gains that you can make with the 2 DRS straight after each other,
yeah,
it's quite a lot.
Yeah, agreed. Let's go back up to the front though, because Daniele very, very close again. He's got to within 0.2 on the way into Curva 1 through the Center S, and we've got DRS open, a defensive move. Wow, those guys are close on the entry into the corner. They didn't leave much. I saw a tuft of grass come out from underneath Daniele's outside tyre. A Quinlan gets a 3-second penalty, and not his first of the night. Still hasn't let Speed Queen by. Acosta and Martin trading places, but I'm staying with the lead because on lap 32, Nathan, Daniele with a late lunge into, I think, Biga de Pata there, got the job done. A tiny little touch of wheels, but just a small rub, and no harm, no foul, I don't think, on his account. Just got caught Nathan slightly unawares. Wasn't expecting a move in there, and sometimes the unexpected is the best option. He's managed to open up a nice gap as well, and gets the lead with 3 laps to run now.
I also noticed that Daniele has 1 warning, so kept it quite clean.
Yeah.
Doubt there'll be a penalty. Equally RS, and Nathan's got some DRS at the moment.
He has. He's
very close.
Just
with the
opening
pace
up the gap though slightly. Foxy here in P6. Let's remind ourselves just how far they've come up the grid. Foxy up 11, Reshka are ahead of him up 10, Passe up 8, and you would have been forgiven for counting Passe out of this race after a disastrous qualifying, but he's made it all the way up to the points so far in the race, and so right now we're watching Foxy behind Reshka because that's a pretty close battle. We've got a tight battle behind them between Martin, Acosta and Ferocious Dan. Gap's closing up. Let's go back up to the lead though, because this time Nathan's the one forced to the outside. He's got great overspeed, gets the overtake done, and Daniele can only try and come back at him, down the back straight. We've got 2 laps to go, and they can't get away from each other, Lightning.
He's got so much more ERS at the moment. He saved it throughout that lap.
Daniele has.
Yes.
Right.
Sorry, I should have mentioned that part.
Yeah.
It could be quite an interesting strategy of overtaking. Maybe
Daniele be pleased to see Nathan wide there into the SA corner that he got him on the previous lap. So he'll be very happy to see Nathan struggling on these tyres at this point.
Struggling with some rear locking.
Yeah.
This track is probably one of the most difficult to have without any ABS on. So. A. Quinlan has gone for a spin.
Here comes Daniele to the inside, and the reverse of the previous lap move is done. Daniele, has he got enough ERS to power away down Retroposta and keep this lead for just a few more corners? Not using it, so keeping it. Wow, keeping his powder dry, and that shows some courage. He wants to make sure he's got enough to battle with down the next long straight out of Yunsao, or at least respond if it's a battle for the finish into Desida de Laga. But Daniele then the lead in lap 35, and I think we might have a drag to the finish here on this one, Lightning.
I have a feeling Nathan could be fighting this hard because one of his warnings may have been unfair. But he did get so much oversteer out of Bico de Pato. That's a 1 second gap. He's going to lose DRS.
Wow. Yeah, a big loss. Big loss through there. And as you say, he's got a penalty, and so is Livingwall behind. But if he loses that much again through the next lap, he could be vulnerable to Max off the podium. So it's all to play for. I think Daniele might have got away on the final lap that is actually able to do so. Retroposta for Daniele. Foxy gets up to P5 ahead of Reshka, but they're battling close. We'll stay with them down the Retroposta and out of Curva del Sol. An inside move from the Mercedes, and I think that move might stick before we get to the line. But Daniele is about to see this race out.
And Martin just got a 3 second penalty, which has...
Oh, right, at the death. Yeah, ruined his position there. We've got another yellow, but it's too late for a safety car at this stage. Daniele from, what was it, 3rd on the grid? Accelerates up the hill for the final time, spends everything he's got left, and Daniele then takes the win in Brazil, round 1 of the championship in F1. Nathan will get 2nd. Will Livingwall hold on to 3rd place? He does not. Max gets it right at the death by a tiny margin. Then Foxy holds on to the end. Foxy taking 5th place with all those places climbed. Reshka in 6th. Acosta, Passe, Ferocious Dan, and Martin, I don't think, will hold on to the final point as Liam comes screaming up the main straight. Liam takes the... No, Martin holds on, I think, to the points at the end because Liam had more penalties. So we'll see Stinson, who will be, I imagine, not a driver you want to sit and talk with at this stage, dropping down to 12th place. Speed Queen, likewise, after a problematic first stint, comes in 13th. We've got A. Quinlan in 14th, who did finally allow Speed Queen by, and then we've got a Williams and a Red Bull at the end. By spinning, okay. So, yeah, perhaps not.
Interesting tactics by AlphaTauri.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. The game gives the driver a day to Foxy. I'll ask you for yours in a few moments, Lightning, and I'm sure you'll be trying to get hold of our drivers for a podium interview if at all possible. But Daniele takes the win for Alfa Romeo, and I'm sure that'll be a big crowd pleaser. Daniele for Italy. Got the Alpine driver of Nathan for the Netherlands, and a Frenchman in 3rd place, Max, for the McLaren team. Lots of celebrations I'm sure that will be a group of pretty happy drivers. But typically we have podium interviews and we only manage to speak to one happy driver sometimes. Anyway, I'll give you the rundown of the grid brought to you by GT Omega, Nailcut Hall, and in partnership with gridfinder.com. Daniele then, with the first win of the season, fantastic start, almost perfect, but didn't get fastest lap in the end. Daniele in for the Alfa Romeo team. Then Nathan started third, finished second. Should be happy with that, I think. Max then in the McLaren started seventh, finished third. We've got Livingwall, Foxy for Mercedes up 12 places to finish the race. Reshka in the Red Bull is in sixth from Acosta. Passe, where we've got Ferocious Dan. Martin takes the final point for Ferrari. We've got Liam in 11th, then Stinson in 12th, Speed Queen in 13th, A. Quinlan in 14th, Matty takes 15th place, and we saw Rimac touring fairly slowly towards the end of his race in the Red Bull in 16th place, and we lost Bills and we lost Keza from the race. But overall, 16 classified finishers from 18 starters, and I think we've all got to be pretty happy with that one. Brilliant stuff there. If drivers are joining us for a quick chat at the end, please double check that your broadcast audio setting is set to share, because otherwise it's just a one-sided chat with me, and it sounds really awkward on the stream later when you watch it back. But so double check that for me. And Lightning, did we manage to get our winner? No, we're not. So Daniele is not able to help. He's not happy with his English. I don't think we've got any Italian speakers, so I'll just let him know. So yeah, I'll just ask him to write something to us. Anyway, I think, did I see Nathan? Nathan come into the chat there. Nathan, are you with us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hey Nathan, you made one place up from your starting order, and you were battling for the lead all the way through. How was it in your seat?
Yeah, it went pretty well. Obviously, unfortunately, I got a time penalty.
Yeah.
Which was a bit unfortunate, but and I put in a bit less fuel in the car, so I had to save a bit. But yeah, pretty good for the first race. So yeah.
No, absolutely. Lightning spotted that you were lifting and coasting towards the end. Were you expecting a safety car tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I put in like 0.5. Because always a safety car comes around in this.
Yes. Unless you underfuel the car, and then it's certain that you won't get a safety car. But yeah, it was. We really enjoyed watching yours and Daniele's battles. A very, very clean battle between the two of you.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So let's hope the next race is also like this one.
Absolutely. Was this a particularly strong track for you, or were you just happy to get through it tonight?
I would say yes, it's a pretty strong track for me. Especially consistency.
Yep.
I think that's better here. But yeah, I need to practice a bit more on the other track, so let's hope I can keep it up.
Yeah, I hope so too. And how did you feel any handling differences after the update today?
Not really. Was there an update on the handling? Huh?
Well, that was the rumor we'd heard, but that was the rumor. But yeah, obviously it was either subtle enough that you didn't feel it, or there wasn't one. So we'll keep asking the drivers in case they've got an opinion on that. Yeah, good to hear from you, and thank you very much for stopping by for an interview at the end there. Lightning, I think you got hold of Max, did you, from third?
Yep. And Stinson.
And Stinson, right, so it'll be very interesting to hear from Stinson. Max, I'll come to you next. Max, did you enjoy it out there today?
Well, first I'm completely exhausted, so need some time to recover.
Yep.
To be honest, because I had a Livingwall behind me, basically the whole race, but it's quite unexpected, really. First time here at Invictus, and to finish on the podium, it's like really, it's like a dream come true. It's really crazy. I'm so happy.
Fantastic. Well, that's great to hear. So you didn't come into the race tonight with very high expectations?
No, basically it was just to aim for a top 10 finish.
Yep.
I wasn't far from the lead during the pre-season testing, but I'm still far behind. I think there are some drivers who had problems in this race. My race was just perfect. So I think it's why I'm in the podium now, but I don't think it will happen like often during the season. We will see. But I think for now it's mere luck.
Yeah.
If I can say.
Oh, I don't think you get on the podium with a very competitive grid like this by luck. I think you drove a very clean race. I think you put in a good qualifying and made it work for you. So congratulations. It must be very. I'm sure that getting on the podium helps the fatigue fade away very quickly. I hope you can get refreshed and look forward to next week and get plenty of practice in.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much.
Thank you for stopping by, Max. That was great. I have heard from Daniele. He said he had a great race. Pace was good. Thinks it was a shame about quali. So he was obviously expecting much more out of qualifying, even though he got 4th place. But he said he's very happy for the results. So great to hear from Daniele, and we appreciate that. But we'd be very, very remiss if we didn't have a chat with Stinson. Stinson, you were right up the front of that race, a stunning pole position.
Yeah, the quali was great, or at least it was good enough for pole. The race itself, yeah, it's a little bit disappointing. I had a good first stint, but something my controller broke in the second stint, which made my throttle stuck.
Oh,
so
no.
I went up the hill and it got stuck, and the car was gone. And it happened one time after that as well.
Wow. So an actual mechanical issue on your controller tonight. Will you be throwing it in the bin after tonight? Yeah.
Yeah, I will be dropping it in the bin for sure. It's not coming back.
Yeah, wow, okay. I mean, to get pole position in a league like this on a controller, that must be amazingly satisfying. When are you going to upgrade your equipment?
I think never. I'm happy with the pace I have on controller, and I don't feel like investing to get a wheel.
Well, of course, you'll have to if you win the championship and win one of the GT Omega Racing rig stands. So...
Yeah, then I would have to. Or I would find a way to get my controller on it, but I doubt that will work.
I've seen YouTube videos of people making steering wheel arrangements out of DualShock 4s, making them out of cardboard and bits of string and pegs. So maybe that would be you with the greatest racing rig in the world and a cardboard steering wheel.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be very cool. Moving on to the next race, are you feeling optimistic? You must be after showing that kind of pace tonight.
Yeah, I felt really optimistic, especially once I saw when I had to undercut the pace that I had. And in the quali lap I had around 2.5 times more in it. So I'm feeling really confident for next race.
Yeah, good. I'm glad that you can turn the mindset round like that and eyes on the next race. How much practice will we be able to put in this week for Australia?
I've driven it once before, so I'll maybe an hour or two for the practice.
Oh, okay. Good stuff. Well, yeah, hard luck tonight, but I'm sure that everyone will have taken notice, and I, for one, will definitely be watching you in qualifying more closely next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stinson. Very good and sporting of you to stop by. Thanks for that, Lightning. That was awesome. So, what about your thoughts coming out of the race? Any disagreement with the driver of the day or standout performances from your perspective?
My driver of the day is the same as Codemaster's driver of the day. I think he did really well. Very good racecraft, getting from 17th to 5th. It's a pretty good performance. But I do have some bad news for Max. There might be a chance that Livingwall gets his penalty removed because there was contact with Stinson, causing Livingwall to get an unfair warning.
Yep.
So there is a chance that the stewards decide to remove Livingwall's penalty, demoting Max back down to 4th.
Okay, well, if such a thing occurs, we will of course let you all know. I must point out Liam got the fastest lap, but I don't think we'll get points for that, unfortunately. So, maximum available points tonight taken by Daniele, given that the fastest lap wasn't available. So, a perfect start to the season for Daniele. We look forward to next week. It's been a cracking race. We've really enjoyed it. We didn't have a safety car. We had the top 17 drivers within a second of each other in qualifying, and I can't wait to get out there to Australia same time next week. But before then, make sure please you've liked our video tonight, you subscribe to the channel so you catch tomorrow night, Wednesday night, Thursday night's races. In our other tiers, we've got a realistic performance tier on Thursday night, so make sure you check in for that one. But from Lightning and myself, Webbo, you can find us on Twitter. I think our links will be on the description of the video. Mine is @WebboRed5. What about you, Lightning?
Doesn't really matter. Who cares?
Well,
I don't post anything.
Well, there you go. Don't bother following Lightning, even if you find him, because he's not interested. But do follow the Invictus channel on all forms of social media. We thank you for watching. We thank you for the comments. We thank you for your likes and subscriptions, and we thank GT Omega, Nelkut Hall, and our partner Gridfinder.com. But until next week, from myself, Webbo, and Lightning, we will catch you on the next race day.